Hey everybody, and welcome to Tatter-a-fact today. Well, it's just me at the Girlz Inc. studio in Las Vegas. And we got you too, Olivia. You're here with us.
Here.
You are here. So yeah. So today I thought we would talk kind of about clients and maybe some different situations that come up with clients. And a couple of the bullet points that I'm going to hit on today are all questions that we've gotten from some of our students or customers over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And between all those questions, I thought it would make a great little podcast because newbie artists, they tend to not first of all, when you're new, you're really, really nervous. And sometimes client situations can get beyond us and get out of control because we're not used to dealing with a clientele. And it's uncomfortable a lot of times, and you just, frankly, just don't know the proper protocol in some of these situations. So I wanted to talk about that. And before we get into some actual situations, one of the questions we had come in, which we get a lot. I see it on the Facebook groups. I see it on Instagram. I get emailed about it, is how to get more clients. Like, social media is not working. I just had that question come in a few days ago, and she's been, doing some Facebook ads. She's been, posting on Instagram. She's been, really struggling, filling her books and getting clients, to book with her. And so she wanted to know, how can she get more clients? So my first response to her was, are you strictly advertising or strictly using social media? Is that your only avenue of trying to attract clients, is social media? And she said yes. And social media is great. Look, we need it. If you have your own business, you need to be on social media. That's a given. But as evolved and as advanced as social media has become, and as much as humans love and are attracted to social media, and as good as it can be for attracting clients and growing your business, it's not the only way. Even now, today, I think there's something to be said with the human connection, right? When you're only using social media, there's not, it's different. You can get lost in a slew of social media flyers and ads and whatnot. And you definitely lose that human connection, that human relation. But when you're able to meet someone in person, they can hear your voice, they can experience your energy, your mannerisms, and you can have a conversation with a potential referral, like a doctor, a hairstylist, a nail tech, someone like that. I think that even today with social media, that can be really, really powerful because it's engaging. It's human beings engaging. You're hearing, the voice, the mannerisms, you're feeling the energy. Mm-hmm. And that, sometimes, and maybe in many cases, can be much more powerful and much more effective than social media. What are your thoughts on that, Olivia? Because you're younger, you were probably born in the social media age where I had to get, fucking used to it. It didn't happen until a little bit, later for me, but you people your age, you guys were like born into social media. But you work here at Girlz Inc. and you handle a lot of the marketing. So what are your thoughts? Do you think like just social media, that's enough? Or do you also think, hit the streets and go, go visit people?
Yeah, I think that's very important to be personal as well. Just because, I mean, for me personally, I feel like I would trust somebody more if I know them, if I've seen them in person and had a conversation with them, rather than through just social media.
Yeah. No, I agree. And me too. And I think that's a lot of people. And how I built my business, I didn't have social media, first starting out, the first 10 years of my career, 10, 12 years of my career, there wasn't, social media. There certainly wasn't Instagram. And there was barely websites. I'm kind of dating myself. But, I was really young when I started PMU, but I started 21 years ago, and there was barely websites on the wild world web, as my dad likes to refer to it. And so, back then I was forced to find alternative ways. Well, not alternative ways. It was the only way back then. You could take little ads out in like your local magazines, which still might be a good idea. I think all the cities, or most of the cities like Las Vegas, I mean, we have local magazines, like entertainment magazines, woman magazine, things like that. And advertising in there is still relatively inexpensive because, they're small local publishings. So that might be a good way, is to, do a little research and find out if there's any local magazines that tend to get delivered to dentist offices, doctor's offices, places that women frequent, right?
Yeah.
I'm in Woman Magazine here in Las Vegas, and I know those magazines get delivered to a lot of the doctor's offices, dentist offices, spas and whatnot. And I'm in that magazine. I've been advertising in that magazine for about 12 or 13 years. And it's, like I said, it's affordable. And so how I would drum up business is I was trying to get doctors like plastic surgeons and dermatologists and, doctors to refer me. And I could not get a doctor to take time out of his day to see me. That was really, really difficult. And then one day I happened to have a client, and she was a scheduler for a plastic surgeon here in town. And I asked her, how can I get in front of a doctor or in front of someone at the doctor's office who is in charge of referring, so I would be the PMU girl that particular doctor's office referred. And her answer kind of shocked me, but it was call and schedule a breakfast meeting. Like, you bring bagels and coffee and you provide the office with breakfast, and that's the way to get the doctor to sit down for 30 minutes, is you do these breakfast meetings. You host these breakfast meetings. And I had never heard of that, and I didn't know that. And so that's what I did. And I got in front of my first doctor that way. And he was a gentleman, and he was a plastic surgeon. He started referring me. And then he ended up booking a body tattoo with me. And I did a little tribal body tattoo piece on him, and forged a good relationship. And then from there, the next doctor, I just kept calling and getting front desk people. Then I'd get, to their scheduler, and I would schedule these breakfast meetings. And I would bring in my portfolio. I would print out pictures. I bought like good quality, glossy photo paper, and I'd print out like my best work and put it in a nice
portfolio.
And that portfolio, I would leave there at their office with a picture of me, a bio, samples of my work, And at the end of the portfolio, there was pictures of me with, my dogs and things like that. So they got a little inside peek of who I am personally. And I think people like that as well. So that's what I did. And I started gaining doctor after doctor after doctor as referrals. What we would do on Christmas is Kat is a good baker. Some of you probably have seen my, some of the videos that I post, around Christmas time with Kat and her apron, and, cooking all of them, cookies. But and she really does do that like every winter, every Christmas. And so years and years ago, she would bake a bunch of these cookies and we would put them in cute little tins, and we would take a whole weekend, like Thursdays and Fridays, and we would fill the car up with these tins of cookies and little Christmas cards. And we would drive all around town to not only the doctors that were currently referring me, but the doctors that I wanted to refer to me. And we would walk in, we would introduce ourselves, I would hand them the cookie tins, and usually, who doesn't like cookies, right? Everybody likes cookies. And so that would spark a conversation. And I remember the day that I landed Dr. Anson, because she was a big plastic surgeon, here in town. She's since retired. But I ended up getting into a conversation with her Botox girl, Shona there, and Dr. Anson came out, and I got to meet her, and all because of, a cookie. So things like that, it really, really can work. Just that personal touch. So if you're somebody that is, really working social media, and you're not, building a clientele as fast as you want, you're not seeing your business grow as fast as you want, I'm certainly not recommending that you slow down on social media. Keep that up. But if you're not in combination with social media hitting the pavement, then you need to do that. I would highly suggest you do that. And it's not just doctors' offices like plastic surgeons, dermatologists, dentists. It's also hair salons. I mean, hairdressers. Hairdressers have female clientele. Most of their clients are female. I mean, you can tap into a lot of ladies with just one hairdresser. So what I did was I would actually do the hairdresser for free. I'm not saying you have to do that, but you could offer some sort of discount or incentive, work a deal with the hairdresser. I personally just did all my hairdressers for free, my nail techs for free, their eyebrows, their eyeliner, their lips, whatever they wanted. They would keep my cards, my portfolio right there at their desk. And you're talking in 3 years' time, I built one hell of a clientele here in Vegas. And to this day, 21 years later, I mean, I have a huge clientele. I have such a large clientele. I was able to bring on apprentices and fill their books as well. And it all started 21 years ago, hitting the pavement, visiting doctors, baking cookies, visiting hairdressers, nail techs. You have Botox and injectors in general. I mean, there's just lots of places where you could go, introduce yourself, and tap into potentially a lot of ladies that might be interested in you and your service. So that's my 2 bits on that. Yeah. I really do. I really, really, really believe still, and I tell my apprentices that, I mean, they can't rely on Girlz Inc. in our studio to completely fill their books, and nor do I want them to rely on us just filling their books. Not that just the Girlz name alone doesn't bring in enough clients where, they benefit from that, but I just feel they're not here just learning how to tattoo permanent makeup. they also have to learn, how to speak to clients, how to attract clients, how to market. I mean, it's a full-on apprenticeship here. They're learning a lot. I want them to learn everything here, not just how to do really good permanent makeup. So hit the streets, ladies, and make those human connections. And, how could someone not love you, when you're smiling and showing up with cookies and showing your portfolio? I mean, it's a good, and I think that's what the world's missing.
Yeah.
I hear people say it over and over and over, time and time again, like they miss the human connection. And I think there's a lot of people that really fear that that's going away, socialization and human connection and human contact. So go introduce yourself, meet some people, charm them, win them over, and build a clientele. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So the next topic I want to talk about, and this is a tough one, and this has happened to me. If you're in business long enough, this is going to happen to you. It just is, and you got to learn to deal with it. And it's how to deal with a bad review. I can remember the first you never forget a bad review. And I can remember the first bad review that I got, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I just remember getting full of anxiety, and in my mind, of course, I made it much bigger than it was. And I just imagined like every single person I knew and lived in Vegas and the surrounding, states of Vegas, Nevada, saw this bad review, and they were all reading it, and then they were all talking about it and talking about me. I mean, that's just what the mind does, or at least that's what my mind does. And it was really, really bad. And I don't think I handled bad reviews well in the beginning. I think I ignored them and just wished that they went away. And they don't, and that's not the right way to handle it. So I think, first of all, you have to be prepared. It is going to happen. And a lot of times it's nothing that you even did wrong. And bad review comes from not because, you did anything wrong or you didn't do a good job or anything like that. A lot of these bad reviews come from clients that are just, I don't know, can I say it? Assholes.
Yeah, or too picky.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they're just not nice people, and they get they head straight to social media and they want to try to destroy you, and not that there's not a place, where sometimes a bad review is warranted online. I have never written a bad review online about any company ever, not once in my lifetime. It's just not how I roll. It's not my thing. I would rather call and I did have a restaurant one time that I had a bone to pick with them, man. And, I had a dog that was, she was a service dog, and in this restaurant, didn't let me in, and believe me, I wanted to write a bad review, but instead, I calmed down and I called the restaurant, and they actually had me come back down, and I had a conversation with them, and it all worked out really good, thank goodness. But some people, it's the first thing they do as a remedy. They go straight to social media. They're really explicit with their wording, right? And their intention is to hurt you, and some people are better bad review writers than others, right? They're a little bit well-behaved, more behaved, if there's such a thing, a good bad review writer, you know what I mean? Versus a bad review writer. But the first thing that you should know and do when a bad review pops up is you need to respond quickly. Like, don't ignore it. Ignoring it is the worst thing you could do. And sometimes we don't want to face it. I remember not wanting to face my first bad review. You just want it to go away, magically go away. And it doesn't. So respond quickly. And again, ignoring it is the worst thing that you could do. Secondly, you want to acknowledge the complaint, right? Acknowledge the complaint and apologize. Do not get defensive. Like, you don't want to sit down and those fingers start going and you just start defending yourself. And so don't write your response when you're super hot-headed and you're feeling the most affected by it. So although that you should respond quickly, you also want to give yourself time to calm down and not respond straight from emotion, right? Because that can cause problems. You may end up regretting it. You may end up writing something that you wished you hadn't. So take a little bit of time to calm down and think about what you want to write. Construct a really professional response. Because think about this. Other people do see that bad review. And I think other people, either potential clients that maybe were thinking about coming to you and they were checking out your Google reviews or your Yelp reviews, and they come across this new bad review, they're sitting in the wings waiting to see how you respond. So that's why it's important to respond. And it's important to, take the high road, stay professional, don't get defensive, but acknowledge the complaint, right? And apologize, even if it's ridiculous. And I have had some ridiculous bad reviews. They're so ridiculous, you think this has just got to be another PMU artist in town. I mean, doing this to us, because this complaint is so ridiculous. You'll even look in your schedule and you're like, I don't even have a client that name. I mean, this is so ridiculous. But even so, it's there in black and white, and people can see it. So even if you think it's a bad fake review, it's a ridiculous review. People are just waiting to see how you respond. So respond with professionalism, and be authentic and be personal. Be humble, authentic, and personal. And even if you don't agree with what they're saying, you apologize that this was their experience. I acknowledge what they're saying, and just, I'm sorry that this was your experience, with me and my company. It's my intention that everybody always has a wonderful experience, and then go from there. So, that's really, really important to do. And while you're responding, I think it's really good if you try in a very tactful way, promote your business or company in a positive way. Like tactively speak about your business in a very professional way, but tactfully. Because there's a tactful way to do it, and then there's a way to do it where you're coming across defensive and you're defending, and you don't want to come across that way. But if you can tactively figure out a way to promote a positive image of your company while you're responding, that's always going to be really, really good, for your response, for your business. And it's going to impact those watching this, and people that may come across that bad review. Let me see. The next thing that I think is really, really important is you want to take it offline, right? You do not want this to turn into an online battle, a tit for tat online for everybody to watch. So it's important to respond once online, right? In the ways that I just mentioned, and then try to get it offline and continue. If it requires continued conversation with this person, do your best to get it offline and do that communicating either, by email, text, phone, and resolve it offline in a private setting. That is just going to be the best thing to do. I mean, it makes me cringe when I go read some of these bad reviews at restaurants or some of the places, Kat and I may, pull up and look at the reviews, and you see this just back and forth, right? I mean, this back and forth between the owner and the person, and it tends to get more and more nasty. And so try to nip it in the bud, one really good, well thought out response, and then get it offline. And again, if additional communication is required, do it offline. And then try to make it right. Try to make it right, whatever that may be. And I get that sometimes the client's not always right. And the client may think the client's always right. But if you service the public, if you're in the service industry and you service the public, you know that there are instances where the client's not always right. The client, it's ridiculous. It's like their expectations weren't realistic. They didn't listen to a word that we said. Maybe there's anger issues. And they can get very rude. They can threaten. And thank goodness most people are not like this. And it is rare that you do come across this. In my business, I've been very blessed. And it's rare that we get a client like that, but it does happen. But I think it's good to always make it right. And making it right doesn't always mean that you're going to continue working on that client, that you're going to keep that client, that person as a client. Because, just like some relationships, some romantic relationships, some marriages, you get to a point where it's just going to be healthier and better for both parties if you resolve your differences and you both leave feeling heard, acknowledged, and the situation resolved. I just think that's healthy between two people. Whether it's a married couple, someone dating, or client practitioner, right? I just think that's a healthy way to end it. I certainly don't want someone leaving, even though if I'm not going to work on them again, I may have no desire to ever have that type of personality in my studio again. Like it's just not going to work out. I still don't want that person leaving angry at me or feeling I didn't hear her. I want it resolved, but that's just who I am as a human being. So maybe that just flows over in the way that I deal with these type of situations. And every once in a while, as much, I think I've had a couple instances, one in particular, and I will tell you about it, where it did not get resolved. There was just no resolving anything with this lady, and it was over pricing and touch-ups. And this, like a lot of us deal with in PMU, their skin may not take well, and, this, that, and the other, bad reviews, and, which led into a refund situation which I'm going to segue right into and then go a little bit more detail into that particular client. So that's how you want to handle a bad review, right? Don't ignore it. Wait till you calm down and you're able to take the high road and not answer out of anger, answer it with grace and be polite, tactfully try to,
I feel like the best way is to put yourself as though you are the client, to see how you would interact with that business if you saw how you were acting.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Because before you came to Girlz Inc., you were the manager of a clothing store, right? And you were the manager.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of service.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, different, but still, you're dealing with the public. You know, people probably trying to bring back clothes or not happy or whatnot. I mean, no matter what service industry you're in, whether it's permanent makeup or running a boutique or anytime you have to deal with the public, you deal with these situations.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to put the business first.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like sometimes you just gotta like be nice to the person, even though you know they're in the wrong.
They're in the wrong. Yeah. Yeah. And we do that a lot in here in Girlz Inc. You know, we I always put the business for, you know, and try to work it out with the client, you know, and apologize. And thank God it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I'm a really fair person. So I don't have a quick fuse. I'm not quick to be defensive. You know, I do try to work it out. But there's always going to be those people where there is no, I mean, I've been pushed, you know, I've been pushed with my back against the wall a couple of times where, you know, I mean, I've had to walk someone out of here. Like this just ain't happening, you know. I mean, it just sometimes, you know, but I've been doing this 22 years, you know, over 20,000 clients. And so, you know, if it's only happened a handful of times out of all those years and all those clients, I think those are pretty good percentages, pretty good odds, right? Like,
really good odds.
Those are pretty good odds, you know. Overall, you know, I you know, it's been really, really good, but it is those bad ones, you know, that kind of stick out in your mind and can ruin your whole damn month. Forget ruin your day. I mean, they can ruin your whole month. They can make you want to quit. Yep. You know, because then you get anxiety and you think, oh my God, everybody's going to be like that, and I just, you know, she's not worth it. But you can't let people have that much power over you.
Yeah. And the truth is that like a lot of people will leave bad reviews instead of good reviews. Mm-hmm. Because people are more motivated to leave that bad review because they're so angry. But you don't see a lot of like clients that leave happy. Most times they're not going to leave a good review unless you motivate them to.
Right, exactly.
Because they're happy, there's no reason for them to
leave we almost have to motivate them to, right? We have to encourage them to leave a good review. Yeah. Yeah. But they're very quick to go leave a bad review. Right. Yeah. No, I get it. And there's some instances too. I think it's Yelp. And it might be Google too. I'm not sure. I mean, I've had 2 bad reviews removed off Yelp because I did not do the service. And if you don't actually do the service, Yelp will remove the bad review. And I had 2 different instances, and in their bad review, they even said that they didn't get this. They didn't end up booking the appointment because, you know, I can't even remember now, but they gave some excuse. It was during a consult, you know, they did, you know, whatever reason, I can't even remember, but I didn't do the service, and they revealed that in their review. So I sent that into Yelp, and because I did not actually perform the service, it got removed. So Yelp, I don't know if Yelp still has that policy in place, but in order for a bad review to remain, the service has to have been performed. I have to tattoo you.
Yeah,
you can't you can't call me on the phone and not like how the conversation goes, or, you know, or whatnot. Come in for a consult and, you know, we don't jive and you don't like something I said and then go leave a bad review. I had to have performed PMU on you. And I did get a bad review removed on Google once as well. It's a little bit harder on Google, but it was a fake bad review. And I did hire somebody. I hired somebody to come in and track down that bad review, and they did a little computer forensics. I don't know how they do it, but they did. And that's how bad that bad review bothered me. And I felt I knew who was doing it. And then it was a very malicious bad review. And it got personal. And so, they tracked it down, and we knew. So I sent in the report, and Google removed it immediately and removed this person from Google. Removed her.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she was a PMU artist here in town. Yeah. And I had a feeling this is like 13, 14, many years ago. So, so that's how to deal with a bad review. And then, as I just mentioned, you can also fight it, you can, report it and fight it with both, Yelp and Google, and try to get it removed. And it's worth trying, because sometimes they will get removed. And my whole thing is, if you have way more good reviews, if you've got 300 good reviews and 5 bad reviews, those 5 bad reviews, no matter how bad and how much they bother you, they get lost. They get swallowed up by all those good reviews. So, so that's why I became obsessed with encouraging our clients to leave a good review. And we hound them, I'll email them, hey, you sent me a after picture, your brows look great, but I still don't see your good review. Please, go leave us a review. And so we're pretty good. We have a good, a percentage of clients now, leaving reviews. But imagine if every client we did left a review, a good review. That would we would have thousands. Good. Yeah. But it is hard to get someone to write a good review. But there's certain incentives like you can do. You can always, give them a little discount, on their touch up or their next service. There's just little things to encourage them to give a good review. Not that you want to buy good reviews, but sometimes people need a little
reminder,
a little reminder. But so try to focus on getting people leaving those good reviews, because like I said, the bad reviews get swallowed up by all those good reviews. So that's good. And I know when I'm looking at reviews in Canada, because we do a lot of restaurants, and we like looking for new restaurants, and we always go look at the reviews. So, and I think that's kind of human nature now. I think if, when we go to a new restaurant, or trying to find a new restaurant or a new show or something like that, we'll look at the reviews. I want to see what other people's experience was. And if I see, a few bad reviews, but many, many, many more good reviews, then I leave feeling this is a great place for Kat and I to go try. Even though there was some bad reviews, there were a lot more good reviews, and that tends to win me over, if you will. Okay, so let's get into refund your client or stand your ground. What do you think, Olivia? You ran a boutique. So what was your boutique's policy? Did you well, it's closed, so it's a little bit different, right? Because it's an item.
Yeah, for us was exchanges. No refunds, but exchanges.
Oh, you guys didn't do refunds. Did you do exchanges for a certain period of time?
Yeah, for 30 days. The only thing we wouldn't exchange is the intimate apparel. We don't want to take that back.
Yeah, because that's gross. Yeah. Okay, so what if someone came in after the 30 days? Did you stand your ground?
Yeah.
You did?
I did. Sometimes it depends on the situations.
Yeah.
It's sometimes case per case.
Case per case, yeah. So did you get anybody really pissed off?
I have. And sometimes it made me mad because they would call corporate, and then corporate would call me back. Oh, just go ahead and give it to them.
Yeah, when corporate tells you these are the rules, follow the rules, and then you have to stand there and like get wind in your face from someone all angry because you're following corporate rules, and then corporate just do it. Yeah. Just do it. I know. And it sucks, it sucks dealing with, people, and telling them no. But anyway, I used to be, I'm going to admit it. I used to be feisty. I used to stand my ground, man. I did. I did not want to refund anybody, and because I felt I wasn't wrong. I did the work. You signed a consent form. I can't help that your skin's all oily and doesn't take pigment as well as we would have liked it to.
Yeah. Or that's why those consent forms are important.
Those consent forms are very important. But you just get some people that push you, and then they threaten you with like lawsuits and this and that and the other. And I would stand my ground. And I was very feisty, and I just felt I was on the right side. I felt I was right. I spent 2.5 hours doing that eyeliner. I touched her up, her skin was challenging and, and it just didn't stick as well as it should, but I did all that work. I invested in that work and they just feel like they should just get all their money back. And I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that way. It really used to actually just kind of piss me off. You don't get your money back if, Botox, you don't freeze the way you want to freeze with Botox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just say, well, buy another vial of Botox. Let's just put more in. So there's just so many similar scenarios where you don't get your money back. If you weren't like happy with the result or it didn't meet quite your expectations. And when we're tattooing skin, we never know how the skin's going to take, right? We don't know. We don't know until we know. And so anyway, so I used to really stand my ground and I just would not budge. Didn't want to refund anybody. And if I felt so offended, like if I had to refund somebody. And that, and truth be told, it caused me a lot of anxiety and a lot of angst, right? Because some people don't back down, and it's like they're blowing up your phone and they're this and that and the threats. And I would just stand my ground. I'm like, I'm not refunding you, and I'd block them and this and that. And I was like, and then finally they go away and I'd be like, yeah. I didn't have to refund him, Kat, she's gone. But then I don't know as if you just get exhausted or maybe it was I met my match. And it's when I was up at the salon I was at, and I had a client and it was a lip procedure. And I just couldn't get it dark enough. You could see that color, but she had unrealistic expectations. And I was very clear in her consult and working on her and all the way through that, I might not be able to get that dark, but we're going to get some good color on her. And she did tattoo very well. And I got lots of color healed in on her. I used big mags, 11 mags for lips. And so got a lot of color on her. And but she wasn't happy. And she was a referral from another client who I love dearly. And so I didn't anticipate, even though she was a little particular, with how dark she wanted it, because she was referred from a client that I thought was awesome. I couldn't foresee any issues, per se. But her email after she healed, it wasn't pleasant. So sometimes when they don't get as much color as they want, they don't reach out to you and let you know that nicely. Sometimes they're not very nice. They're really snatchy and kind of rude about it, right? And so that was her. She was just very rude and very snatchy. And I was like, hey, we'll do another session, and I can't really go any darker as far as color. I've got you, because she wanted it like pink, like a pinky berry color, but very vibrant. And I was using organics. And so, I told her another session, layer on some more color, and that might, bump you up a little bit and get you where you want to be. But again, the lipstick you're showing me, you want that's not realistic. That's topical. What I'm doing, I'm putting it in the skin and it's covered by layers of skin. So you're just not going to quite get that. Come on, lady, don't you get it? I thought I explained myself really well. But so anyway, I do her second session and so, I'm down in Huntington Beach and I'm on a vacation and I get this god awful voicemail, and it was horrible. And me and Kat were at the beach and we were on the beach. So it was hard to hear. And then, I got to my hotel room that night and I listened to the voicemail and ruined my whole damn vacation. But she just went off the deep end and wanted her money back and demanded that I call her. So I texted her, I'm on vacation, can't speak now, be back, blah, blah, blah. That wasn't good enough. So she kept blowing up. So I had to block her because she just went crazy. And when I get back to work in the salon owner told me that this particular woman had been coming in calling, coming in, calling, obsessive. I'm like, oh my
Wow.
God. Yeah. So I call her back and she wants a refund. I'm like, I'm not refunding you. You know, you signed your consent forms, this, that, and the other. And I was very honest with you. I've done the work. Your lips look great. You're just, you're just not going to get like neon, lipstick looking. And so she tells me, Olivia, she on the phone, she tells me that, and this is no lie, she tells me that her son has been in prison for murder for like 18 years and is getting out. Yeah, like next month. Yeah, no joke. So I call my friend, my other client that referred her, and I get on the phone with her, and I'm like, I tell her what I just heard, and she was like, I'm so sorry. It's true. Her son went to prison for murder. Yes, it's all true. And I'm so sorry. She's been also complaining to me about you. I've been trying to calm her down. I don't know what's going on, Teryn. Something's going on in her personal life. I don't know if she's being treated for something. I don't know what's going on with her, but she's apologizing. And this lady kept threatening me, and I mean, really? Like her son's in prison. This is what she tells me. And so I get scared, know. And so, so I contact my lawyer. This is why we should all have lawyers. And so my lawyer is like, refund the lady, but I'm going to send you a release form. Don't give her any money back until she signs a release. I have her come into the salon and have a witness. I don't want you there alone with her. And so I did all that. So I emailed her a release. She didn't want to sign it. So then my lawyer sent her an email saying, you want your money back, honey? Sign the release. And it's done. You'll walk away. and I'll walk away alive. And so we did all that. She came into the salon. I had to see her like one more time.
Wow.
Yeah. To get the form, and hand her check. And then that was that. She left me alone. That's all she wanted. But that was a real lesson for me. And that all that could have gone away. I didn't have to spend weeks dealing with this person if I had just refunded her. And so that changed me. And it wasn't long after that I had another difficult client and tried not to refund her, and I could see it was going to go sideways and go bad really quick. She, someone else not, maybe not as stable as me. And so, yeah, that was a turning point in my career where I just refund people. It's easier. So, whether you want to refund your client or stand your ground, I guess that depends on your tenacity and your mental and emotional strength and the type of person you are. Because just know that you don't really know that person and the extent they'll go to in order to recoup their money, get their money back. They could become, they could stalk you online. They could set up all kinds of fake accounts and start writing bad reviews. They could threaten you. They could do lots of things. They can show up at your studio. You just don't know people and what they'll do. And so for that reason, I just refund people. And again, it's rare someone asks for a refund. It's very, very rare. It doesn't happen that often in your business, but it does happen, from time to time. And well, you know that, Olivia. We had one, a while back, and that was our first one in probably 4 or 5 years. And I just will refund them. But I would suggest that you never refund them without a release. They have to sign a release. And what that release protects you, that they cannot come back and try to get more money. They can't speak negatively about your business. They can't go online. It's almost like a code of ethics that they agree to follow and abide by, and you as well, for refunding their money back. And like I said, it just protects you. So refund them. I think it's just easier unless you're a fighter. And, but for me, it's just easier. I just don't want that anxiety, you know, because you take it home with you, and it can make you sick to your stomach. It can make you not sleep. So what it does is it causes you to think and think and think about someone constantly that you now don't even like. You don't even like, you want nothing to do with, and, you know, you just want her gone. You just want her to go away. So if you just refund her, that will happen. She'll go away.
Yeah.
You're no longer thinking about her. Problem solved. And for newbies that, you know, I get every dollar counts. And that might be one of the reasons too. I fought not to refund, you know, I mean, I started out like everybody else, you know, broke, no money, and every dollar counted. So, you know, once you deposit that money in your account, you know, way back when, it was very hard for me to take it back out because I needed it. You know, I mean, you needed it, you know, to pay your bills and whatnot. So it's hard, but I don't know. I just found it harder to deal with these people that will take it to extreme in order to get their money back.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like you just can't let someone ruin your peace of mind, because that's all it is peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's peace of mind. And I think that's worth way more money, right? You can't put a price on your peace of mind, like you said, Olivia, your peace of mind, right? And, you know, that's just the way it is. So I don't know. Give the money back. All right. So that's my 2 cents on that. You know, and some people may not agree with me, you know, but I see that come up all the time on the Girlz Inc. board. I mean, that question comes up all the time. They'll say this, they'll outline the situation, and a lot of times we're refunding someone that, I mean, we're right.
Yeah,
we're right. You know what I mean? But it's just easier sometimes, man. It just really, really is. So, and that can suck, refunding and writing that, refunding somebody that, you're right.
It's because sometimes you just can't reason with difficult people that don't want to listen.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And there are unstable people out there that, have short fuses and they're unstable. They walk around with a lot of anger. They got a short fuse and they're there's no reasoning with them. Maybe they don't have good coping skills. I don't know, but just refund them. Okay. So do you allow clients to bring a guest in your room? Well, I do not anymore. But again, early in my career, my first few years, I did, because you don't know what you don't know, when you're a newbie and you're just being polite. And why not let your client bring her husband or her best friend or her sister or whatnot? Why not? What's the harm? Well, do it enough and you will experience some instances where, it's horrible. I mean, some guests are good guests and some guests are not. I mean, they want to put their 2 cents in. I've had, many cases where I'm not even really talking to my client because, the guest over here, the husband or, the sister or what, I mean, she's like dominating the room and she's the one critiquing my eyebrow drawing or, the color that I'm trying to choose, not the client. And so once that happened, I mean, it's really super annoying. And it's also distracting. Like, I don't let my apprentices, Michonne is 7 years into her career now, and she's really talented, really skilled, really good. And she's got a very strong personality, very strong rules into her procedure room. So if she makes a decision and wants to bring in, allow a client to bring a guest, that's her discretion. She can if she likes. She's earned it. But like Stephanie and Amy, my they're newer, and no, I do not allow them to have guests. Only the client is allowed in their room, and I don't allow guests. The guests can wait in the lobby. We got a beautiful lobby. We got candy out there, and water, and comfy couch, and they can wait out there. Why do they need to be in the room for a second opinion? I don't want a second opinion.
Yeah. And then sometimes some clients are indecisive.
And sometimes clients are too indecisive, or, sometimes a client don't even know what they want. But, I just don't like the distraction of someone else in the room. I like just me and the client in the room. The only exception is if the client doesn't speak English. And, because we do a lot of Hispanic clients here. But we have you now, Olivia, and Ari. You guys speak fluent Spanish. But before you guys joined us, then that, of course, was an exception. They would bring someone that did speak, English, so we could communicate. So there are some instances where you should allow a guest, for that purpose, so you can communicate. But just to bring a guest for like a second opinion or just for like moral support, personally, I don't like a guest. I've just had enough bad experiences with, it's like you just want to give the guest the hand, like stop. And, because it's hard enough dealing with the client and appeasing the client, making the client happy. Some clients are super easily pleased, and whatever you draw on them, they're just going to like. But a lot of people are super picky, and they critique your work, and you're constantly tweaking and adjusting and, to get it just right. And if you got, someone over here in the corner also putting their 2 cents in, then it can be annoying, and it can be difficult, and it can be distracting. And phone use, like, do you allow a client to use the phone? I mean, of course we have to let the client bring in a phone. Everybody has a phone nowadays, but no, I have them turn their phone off. I have a little sign on my wall: please turn your phone off. It's distracting. You have clients that want to keep the phone out, and they want to answer their phone in the middle of a procedure. And no, and that's just not going to happen with me. You're right in the middle of tattooing, and you're in your groove, and the phone rings. Like, oh, can I get this? Well, no, you can't get this. I'm like tattooing your eyebrow. But if you allow them to read a text and then, an answer, or, listen to their voicemail or answer their phone, you have to stop what you're doing. You have to put down your machine. You got to sit there and wait, for them to finish, and you got to start back up. And it just ruins like my groove. It ruins the flow. It prolongs the procedure, which can cause additional swelling. It can cause more discomfort. And I just don't like it, period. I just don't like it. So I don't allow phone use. The only exception is if I have a mom come in and she's got a child, and the child is home sick, with a babysitter or something. There's something like that. I had someone, and her mom had a stroke, was in the hospital. Her mom was stable and doing okay. She did keep her appointment with me, but she wanted to keep her phone on. That made her feel secure. And of course I was okay with that. Mm-hmm. So there's always exceptions, why you would allow someone to keep their phone on and answer it, in certain sensitive cases like that. But just to have their phone and, answer their phone and, talk back and forth on text, no, I just don't really enjoy that, and I don't allow it. I work on women that are busy, on the go, they're running their own companies, and they want to be able to sit there and work and do emails and, Zoom calls, during their procedure. And I'm like, no, I just had one like maybe 3 weeks ago, and I know she's super busy and she has a lot of clients and whatnot, but no, I mean, no, I'm busy too, and I go get tattoos. I go, get my hair done. I go do things. If I can eke out 2 hours out of my day where I don't have to be, emailing and putting out fires and doing this and the other, then I think most people can.
Yeah.
Right. So, no. So if you're going to book an appointment with me, just no working, relax. I'll turn on some Elvis and some Cher and some Journey, and we'll listen to some good music, and
You'll probably dance a little bit.
Yeah, I'll dance. I sing. I do sing for them. A good song comes on, I sing, and we'll have some good conversation. We'll talk about whatever you want. I'll counsel you if you need counseling, and you'll leave feeling really good about yourself because conversation's good, my energy's good, and the music was good, So yeah, but if you come in, you try to work, and this, and you're not listening to me, and your phone's ringing, then I could get a little snatchy, maybe, and like, hey, put that phone down. We're trying to do something in here. So yeah, that's it, Olivia. Those were my client topics that I wanted to talk about today. Yeah.
Very important ones.
Important ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hey, you guys, thank you for joining me today. I just wanted to remind you to check out our Tatter-a-fact podcast on YouTube, the Tatter-a-fact channel. And if you're streaming us, a lot of people are audio. They prefer audio. If you're streaming us on Spotify, Podcast Addict, BuzzFeed, and Apple Podcasts, that's where you tune in and listen to us. Please jump on over to YouTube and like and follow us and like our episodes. Your likes and follows mean the world to us, and we appreciate them very, very much. And some exciting news too. We figured out how to do Zoom. So we've got, we'll be doing some remote episodes coming up. I've lined up some really super cool, amazing guests from all over the world, names that you will know and recognize. And when you know me, I'm going to ask some really good questions. We're going to we're going to get to the nitty of it and talk. We're going to talk shop. We're going to get a little personal. And I'm going to ask the questions that you want to hear answers to. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, we waited a while to do it because I kind of want to hone my podcast skills and, my talking skills and whatnot, because, it's not easy, man, doing these fucking podcasts. It feels a little weird. And today, especially, I'm by myself. I don't necessarily enjoy being by myself. Yeah. I like having someone to bat back and forth. But you were pretty good today, Olivia.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty proud of myself.
Yeah. We're going to put a camera on you soon so everybody can see what you look like. But, yeah. So, all right. So we got that coming up. And thank you for everybody downloading, our episodes, following us and supporting us. And I get private messages like crazy after each new episode. And so I know people are liking this. And that makes me... that just makes me really super happy and feel really good. And so I love it. So let me leave you with this. The grass isn't always greener. It's oftentimes fake.
Good one.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, we only post the pretty shit, Olivia.
Yep. Yep. That's why we can't depend on social media.
That's right. And, yeah. So I like that one. The grass isn't always greener. It's oftentimes fake. I love that. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and stay in the pursuit of happiness. We will see you next time.